How to hold people accountable without making it a negative interaction. What's up, guys? I'm Mike Claudio, owner of WinRate Consulting and host of the Big Stud Podcast. We're going into the following year. We're going into 2024. This is where people start to look at decisions and investing in their business. If you've ever thought about bringing in a business coach or getting involved, go to workwithwinrate.com. Check out that website, see the offers we have. We have everything from $300 a month to $15,000 a month, depending on the size and problems of your business, what you're trying to get solved. It's an incredible environment of one-on-one coaches bringing you value you need, curated and specific for you, while also giving you an ecosystem of people to hang out with and are like-minded. Because we know a lot of entrepreneurs out there do feel alone, do feel like they're on an island, and that's why we built not just the one-on-one side, but the group environment, the community environment, so you have some people who understand what you're dealing with. But this video specifically is about how to have some of those accountability conversations without making it this negative, fearful interaction or conversation. I see a lot of business owners get afraid or anxious about holding people on their team accountable because it turns into this, anticipated battle, this anticipated defensive conversation. And there's ways and tactics to go about doing it without that. So I'm gonna go over a few different things today that I think you can immediately implement into your business. First is having a standard that's not you versus them. We talk about core values a lot as a standard, but even an SOP, standard operating procedure, or a documented standard that's in place for you to have the conversation of, hey man, it's not me to you. It's not Mike Claudio telling you you suck and not doing a good job. It's like, hey man, this you compared to the standard that we agreed upon, do you think you're living up to this? Because it doesn't seem like it. Again, it becomes this mirror where they are holding themselves in their head accountable to this standard that you wrote down. Again, maybe it's core values, maybe it's a standard that you documented. It has to be documented. Like, hey man, I told you to do it this way. That's not gonna work. Because you have to have this third-party objective tool to compare their performance to this, not, hey man, I feel like you're underperforming. That turns into this defensive, now I have to prove you wrong. If you say, hey man, we agreed this was a standard, right? Would you agree that you're underperforming the standard? You would. Okay, here's what we can do about it, or what do you think we can do about it? Here's what needs to happen next to get us back to the standard. Would you agree? Awesome. Now it's not me versus you. It's me having a conversation with you, making you aware of your adherence to a standard that we agreed to. So that's one of the ways that we use a lot to, and it almost always works to de-escalate the situation, because it's not one versus one. It's not me versus you. It's us helping you attain the standard. Second is a performance improvement conversation, or we call it a PIP. It's something I learned years ago in corporate America. And even in corporate America, it was very much used so as this is your first sign that you're about to get fired. I think performance improvement conversations are happening only at the point where someone's at risk of getting fired. They're not utilized on a regular basis, just make people better. One of our core values is continually evolve. So we're always having conversations around things we do or processes or people or things that we can do to help people get better. And so when you sit down with that person, it's not like, hey man, sorry, you're probably gonna, this isn't gonna be fun. Here's performance improvement. Next step is you're gonna get let go. That's not the conversation. Hey man, I saw your performance. Your performance wasn't where we thought it should be, or it doesn't reach this standard, or doesn't reach your standard, or here's something that maybe we didn't even know needed to be a standard, but we need to improve your performance. Here's what it looks like. Here's where you're underperforming. Here's what we want to see. Do you agree? Sign here. It's not about if you don't, you're going to get fired. It's this is what's going to keep you on the ship. And I talk a lot about how, especially people, you're watching this video because you're trying to get better. And if you're investing in yourself and you're getting better, you're on an upward trajectory. Well, if your team doesn't evolve and you're going up, you create this gap. And you can only tell your team, hey man, I'm going to invest in myself. We're going to grow ourselves as an organization, and we want you to keep up. So we're going to be investing in you to help improve your performance to help you maintain employment on this team. And if you say it that way, it seems like a positive outcome. This is about keeping you on this mission, not about, hey man, this is the first time that you're getting fired. And so when you go into those conversations, it's like, hey man, this is super exciting. You're doing some really great things, but here's some spots where your performance is underperforming. This is what we want to do about it. This is what we want to see about it. This is what we want to do about it. Here's what we want you to do about it. And then ultimately we'll get you where we want you to be so that we can keep you as a part of this team that's growing and evolving and expanding. And look, A players, even B players want that. C players and below don't want that. And so A players want to be held accountable. They want to improve. They want to know where they can get better. They want feedback. They want to know more. B, C players, D players, they don't really as often want that because they're insecure because they know they're not performing as best they could. And so having these conversations, you'll see who rises to the occasion and who gets upset by it, so you can understand who on your team does need it more and who will be a longer player on your team. But having that, this is a performance improvement conversation, not you're getting written up. It just changes the whole dynamic to the conversation. If you do it consistently and you do it universally across your organization, it becomes something people look forward to because they want to get better as opposed to something people are afraid of. I will tell you, the best team members I've ever had want to know when they're not doing a good enough job because they either don't see it or don't understand it or just miss something. They want to know how to get better. And the third part is go into it with a smile. Your team's going to follow you. You're going to follow your energy. They're going to follow your lead. They're going to follow your tone. They're going to follow how you sound. So if you feel and sense and sound anxious, they're going to feel nervous. And so if you go like, hey man, dude, this is super excited. This is a great opportunity for us to sit down and help you improve your performance so that we can continue to help utilize you on this team. And this is just such an exciting day. Even just putting a positive tone on the conversation can have a huge difference in how that person receives it, as opposed to getting defensive by it. And the last point in all of this is making sure you give that other person permission to weigh in on it. Hey, things like, would you agree? What are your thoughts on this? What are you seeing? What am I missing? Because no matter what you do as a business owner, there's going to be pieces of information you don't have when you go into a conversation like this, or really any decision. And so giving them a chance to weigh in on, what are your thoughts? Do you agree? What's your opinion on this? What are you seeing? If you don't give them a chance to talk or give them a chance to weigh in before you make your final decision on whatever it is this performance needs to be improved on, they're going to get defensive. They're not going to listen because they're not going to feel heard. And so if you can do those, 4 things. Have an objective standard like core values, a SOP, a documented standard that you can compare their performance to. Have a performance improvement conversation. Sit them down, be positive, deliver on what we just talked about, and make it about them staying a part of the mission as opposed to them, heading towards being fired. All of that just creates a much stronger conversation. Just understand that not everybody's going to want it, and that's okay. And the people who don't just won't last, and that's not your problem. That's a them problem. But you have to uphold the highest standard possible for your team, and performance improvement conversations and plans, performance improvement plans, PIP conversations can be a great way to help your team evolve and win fast and win often.